Morning, everybody. Welcome. How are we going, Jenna? Is everybody admitted? All right. Thanks to everybody for taking the time to attend this today, especially if you've been on a Zoom call already this morning. See a few familiar faces. Good to see. You feel free to put your camera on, put your microphone off, because we like to wave at people and make sure everyone's feeling welcome. So special welcome to Julie Owens, the Federal Member for Parramatta, and some of her office staff. Welcome. Quick acknowledgement of country. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we work today. Pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. All right. So today we've got some special guests. So the attention experts, recent members, recently joined the Parramatta Chamber. We're very excited to have them on board. They are very well regarded in the industry. We did our research on them as part of this introduction. So we've got George. George, give us a quick wave. And we've got Alice. Where's Alice?
Hiya.
Give us a wave. Hello, welcome. So, and what did we find out? We did some research. They're Australia's most highly rated social media agency. So we're very excited to have them here. George has won the Outstanding Young Entrepreneur of the Year 2018. Not that he looks that young, it's hard to tell. So not sure what the cutoff is. Well done, George. George has started and sold a couple of businesses. So he's actually a multimillionaire. So we're very privileged to have him as well. So he's very successful. And he lectures on behalf of the Centre for Continuing Education on social media at Sydney Uni. So very well credentialed. Welcome to have attention experts with us today. And I'd like to hand over to George. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Thanks for the introduction there. Appreciate it. So the cutoff, by the way, was 35. So you're considered young under 35. There you go. So thanks for attending, everyone. Hope you get a lot of value out of today's workshop, and I'd love to answer all your questions at the end. So make sure you write down your questions and everything, so we can make sure we can make this as interactive and collaborative as possible at the end of today's workshop. So today's topic is social media marketing, creating a return on investment from social media. So like as a business, basically, you know, any marketing activity you do needs to be considered in a format that will create return on investment on your marketing spend or resource allocation. So, you know, whether it's time or money allocated, you need to consider in a viewpoint of return on investment. Now, return on investment comes in many forms. It could be, you know, leads, sales, inquiries, but it could also be databases that you accumulate that have some sort of worth for your business that later on can be turned into you know, lead, sales, or inquiries, or brand value recognition. That brand value now can be attributed to a value for your business. So these are the things to consider, is that end goal as to, you know, what is return on investment, what is the objective, and how to actually obtain that. Today's workshop is a high level understanding of that. I mean, this one is only going to go for about 45 minutes, but you know, I mentioned before, Australia's most highly rated social media agency, been around now for just over 5 years. We turned 5 last month, and we've helped over 500 companies across 20 different industries from around the world, and very honoured to do that and help them in their growth on social media. So some of the trends. So basically, with the trends, looking at January 2021 this year, and these numbers are actually quite consistent this year. They haven't changed much in 2021. A lot of these platforms in Australia, these are Australian statistics, have matured. So Facebook's pretty much hitting its peak in terms of maturity against the population, and so are other platforms like YouTube or Instagram and so on. But Facebook's our most popular platform, has about 16.5 million active Australians on it each month. And the average Australian spends about 36 minutes a day on Facebook. Instagram, you can see there's number 3, YouTube at number 2, WhatsApp and LinkedIn top out the top 5. You've got TikTok there at 15, 1.35 million active Australians. Snapchat sitting at about 6th spot at 5 million, and Twitter about 4.5 million. What's really interesting with this snapshot, you can see is, and look, I'm not a spokesperson for Facebook. I don't work for them, and I don't certainly get any sort of rebate from them, but I'm a big fan of theirs in terms of being able to actually get return on investment. And the reason is that it all comes down to the numbers. When we look at Facebook, Facebook owns Instagram, owns WhatsApp, and also owns Facebook Messenger. If you look at the top 5 platforms there, Facebook ranks 3 of its platforms in the top 5. Collectively, Facebook has about 19 million active users on its platform in Australia every month. So that's around 72% of the population in Australia that are on the platform of Facebook every month, whether it's on Facebook itself or on Instagram or on Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, right? So that's just something to keep in mind moving forward through this presentation. LinkedIn is another great platform for businesses, whether you're B2B or B2C, right? So I'm going to be talking about B2B, B2C, business to business or business to consumer throughout this webinar. And LinkedIn, I mean, at the end of the day, users on the social media platform, they're all people at the end of the day. Doesn't mean, you know, they're on LinkedIn, they're just thinking business-wise, although they're on there to interact in a business sense, they are still people. You can still market your business if it is business to consumer. You can still give advice, you can become a thought leader around your industry and so on, if it is a business to consumer business, right? If you're B2B, you shouldn't neglect Facebook or you shouldn't neglect Instagram, right? There's still people on there. And what I generally say is, if you've got a LinkedIn account, it's very likely you've either got a Facebook or Instagram account, right? So being able to target people, just remember, people are people. It doesn't matter what platform they're on. I always give this analogy, you know, the state of origin. Harvey Norman sponsors the state of origin, right? It doesn't, he's not trying to get, you know, people to a football game. He's trying to get people into his store to buy laptops. The last thing I'm thinking about when I'm watching the state of origin is laptops until he advertises it to me. And then I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should go get one, or, you know, create some touch points with me. So at the end of the day, we want to think of it in a way of creating touch points with audiences and being able to engage with those audiences no matter where they are. One of the great things about some of these platforms, and I'll talk about now why platforms like TikTok or Snapchat aren't really, we're not seeing return on investment at the moment for those businesses, for small, medium businesses, right? When we look at the average age group for Snapchat or TikTok, the average age group on Snapchat is around 16 to 23 years old. The average age group on TikTok is about, it's slightly getting older now, but it's about 13 to 19, right? Those age groups sit in a demographic that is below that arrow there on the screen. So we can see that 25 to 19, I've got that arrow there, and next to it I say disposable income. What we've got to consider as businesses is what demographics do we want to advertise to that will actually make decisions with our business, that will actually spend money with our businesses. Yes, they're very highly engaged on TikTok. Yes, they're very highly engaged on Snapchat, but it doesn't mean they're going to buy anything, right? Generally, audiences on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are much older. Facebook's average demographic is the 25 to 45 category. And on LinkedIn, you've got it at 30 to 50, and Instagram's usually between 25 to 39. So you can see there the bulk of the population, well, with us on Australia for Facebook, you can see the biggest user group there is the 25 to 39 category at 6.1 million active users. The second largest is 40 to 55, and the fastest growing is 65 plus. So when we look at it in that sense, we need to, it all starts to make sense from an ROI perspective. Where are we going to actually target people that actually make decisions for our business, right? Just because TikTok is really popular doesn't mean we have to be on there. Right? It's all about who it is popular with and why we're using it and the type of people that are going to make those decisions. In 2019 in Australia, we had an hour and 31 minutes a day of daily time spent on social media in Australia. The average user in Australia was spending about an hour and 31 minutes a day. This is from a report by Global Web Index done every year called the State of Digital Report that Hootsuite also release every year around January. It's a really fantastic report. I highly advise every January that you actually look for this report and get it. It's really interesting. It's about 90 pages of in-depth digital data on what consumers are doing and all that sort of thing. So the average Australian spends an hour and 31 minutes a day in January 2019. So pre-COVID. We forward to January 2021, we can see it's increased to an hour and 46 minutes. Now that includes things like streaming videos through social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook Watch, etc., as well as interacting on those platforms. So an hour and 46 minutes a day on social media is quite significant, and it's increasing. And another interesting statistic that we've seen, and where a lot of businesses go wrong with social media, is they measure their metrics and KPIs based upon followers, likes, comments, and shares. And what we know as an agency, when we start tracking those metrics, we don't get anywhere with our social media campaigns. We don't see a result from that. And this is where a lot of small businesses go wrong, is they are obsessed with their follower rate, how many followers they have, how many likes they got on their posts, how many comments they got, how many shares, and that's their indicator for success. But what's actually happened in the last 2 years is that Facebook continually report that their overt engagement, which is the engagement that you do see, which is these likes, comments, shares, and followers, is decreasing. But the time spent on their platform is increasing, meaning that covert engagement, things like video time or spent watching videos, interacting with photos, clicking on posts, just going to profiles and things, have increased. So people aren't liking, commenting, and sharing as much. They already follow on average 150 pages each. So why are they going to follow your page? But they're certainly interacting more so in terms of covert engagement. So video watch times, clicks on posts, and so on. Sorry, there's a guy renovating upstairs. I don't know if you can hear that. It's not a very nice sound, but anyway. So there we go. So yeah, covert engagement is increasing. So when we look at our metrics and what we're actually trying to follow on social media, the right metrics to follow and the real engagement is those link clicks, those post clicks, photo views, profile visits, video views. They're the things that we want to measure. That's your real engagement. In terms of tracking followers, likes, comments, and shares, I've never actually seen that deliver a return on investment on a campaign. I've seen return on investment come from real engagement. People going to a website, people going to a lead form, watching a video, and then making decisions. That's where we want to track that real engagement. Also, those forms of engagement help the algorithm with Facebook or LinkedIn improve your reach to 20 to 25 touch points, right? So one is controversy or inspiration. Okay, so controversy is negative non-mainstream content. Inspiration is positive non-mainstream content. You got relevance as well. So how relevant your content is to your audiences. You want to make sure that they're relevant to within the last 2 weeks, right? You don't want to be doing content or giving thought leadership on stuff that isn't relevant to the last 2 weeks. And there's a reason for that. The news cycle today isn't longer than 2 weeks long. If you look at the news cycle 2 weeks ago, it's completely different to what's being talked about today. And in 2 weeks' time, it'll be different. But if you go back a couple of years, and that news cycle is actually getting shorter and shorter. If you go back a couple of years, news cycles were longer. You know, if there was an event that happened, the news would be talking about that for sometimes months, right? But today it's very short, right? And with that, people's attention spans have also gotten shorter, right? So, and that's also because of the technology we use as well with social media and so on. So you want to keep things very relevant. You don't want to be outdated with your content. It's not a good look for you as a thought leader or a terminal. And then value. You want to make sure that you give away everything you know. This is something a lot of business owners struggle with, is, you know, giving away all your knowledge and making sure that you have a mindset of there's no such thing as IP anymore. I can go onto Google and find out anything that you guys do, and you can go onto Google and find out anything that I'm talking about, right? But I'm not going to do your business, and good luck to you if you want to start your own social media, because it's hard work, right? So with that, you want to become the expert in your industry that people go to when they have a question. So yeah, okay, they find out for example, in IT services, that all their staff are at home now, they're starting to get virus attacks coming through and threats. Who are they going to go to? They're going to go probably to Luke, right? And ask him the question, you know, what should I be doing about this IT security situation we're experiencing with our business? So you want to be that terminal. With social media, I talk about everything I know. Whenever I do these workshops or when I deliver lectures or whatever, I always, if anyone asks me any question, I'll just tell them everything. I don't hold anything back because, you know, I want to be your terminal. I want to be the point of contact for you and help you with whatever questions you have with social media. And if you decide to use Attention Experts, then great. But the chances are you will probably want to if I've given you enough value, right? And that's how you should be with your businesses. It's all about value adding. Okay, I'm just a bit concerned because I'm at 41 minutes and I know I've got a lot of slides. So what I might do is just sort of dodge a few slides along the way. These post slides, I know these are relevant for a lot of you. So one of the things to keep in mind with posts is that fresh audiences that are seeing your content for the first time, they're not going to read a lot of your copy. So you want to keep your copy at 1 line max and your picture or your video being the main statement, your aesthetic. But once you get over 4 touch points with an audience, so your warmer audiences, you can start to give them longer copy. And that's sort of like these posts here. We can do a bit more thought leadership in your actual copywriting. But you want to get into that warm stage because new audiences will just flick past you on the newsfeed. While warmer audiences will probably stop, right, once they're a bit more familiar with you. Another thing with longer copy posts that we see work really well is the top line. We have it as a question. And something else that's working at the moment really well is when we capitalize the keywords. So for example, on the right there, you see, are you buying a new property? We capitalize the words buying new property and everything else was lowercase. That will stand out on the newsfeed as people are scrolling down. And if they're interested in buying new property, they see these words pop up, buy new property, they'll probably stop. And that's the best thing you can achieve with social media. That's the first thing you're trying to achieve, is someone to stop on your post on the newsfeed. That's the lowest gradient positive metric you can achieve, right? And the platforms will give you more juice or favor your campaigns more when you can get more people to stop because they're spending more time on the platform, and then they can sell more to advertisers about how long people are spending on the platform and so on. So you're helping the platform as well, and then they're going to favor you and help you. So you got to think of those sort of methods, what's going to get people to stop, what's at least pause. If they're not going to click on it, what's going to get them to stop? In terms of hashtags, you don't want to do more than 11 on Instagram. I know there's a lot of different theories around this. I'm just going off data I know and the metrics I've seen over 500 campaigns. We look at this probably once a quarter for every campaign we manage. I've never seen it indicate over 11 for me on Instagram. And with LinkedIn, generally you don't want to go over 8. You want to use more GIFs as well if you can. On Canva, GIFs are really easy to do. GIFs get great stop rates on the newsfeed. So I call that hang time. So when they hang there on the newsfeed, GIFs are fantastic for that. Here's a great example of a content calendar that you can implement in your business right away. And I mentioned before the optimal rate of posting is 5 to 7 times a week. Now, why is it 5 to 7 times a week? So if you consider that your average audience is seeing, like if you're getting distribution to your audience at 8 to 11% of your followers, on average, if you're posting around 5 times a week and you're advertising daily, like I mentioned before, you're being sent about 5 times a month. Your organic content, if you're posting once or twice a week, you're barely being seen, right? And what we've also seen is that with the algorithm favors content or pages where you have consistency in your content going up. So if you have consistent content going up regularly, then the algorithm will start favoring you, giving you more distribution and cheaper ads and to a high quality audience, right? So you're not going to get return on investment from your organic content, but what the organic content is going to do is help favor the algorithm towards you, okay? And what we've found is if we do less than 5 times a week, we get less reach or less impressions on our organic content. If you go over 14 times a week on organic content, you actually start to see that drop again. So between 5 to 14, but we say stick between 5 to 7. I see people being too modest on LinkedIn, and yeah, okay, it might get you liked by people, but will it get you business? Probably not. Okay, so in order for PR to work for you, you need to promote good works done. And that's really important. You actually need to promote what work you have done that's good in the past. What products have you actually completed? You need to be promoted as the producer of those products. So what a lot of people do on LinkedIn that I see is a massive error is in their profile, they'll say, I help businesses grow, or I help you get money, or whatever, right? That's nice, right? But that doesn't tell me what you've actually achieved in that area and what you've produced. The best profiles in the top of their LinkedIn talk about what they've done, right? What they've produced. And that's important. So you can see here with Tony Robbins, in his About section, he talks about everything he's done. And this About section should be full for you guys. Like for every profile, it should be full. And it should talk about everything you've done. Now, even if you haven't done anything, I'm sure there's things you've done, right? Even if it's not related to what you're doing, you need to talk about you as a producer of products, someone that gets things done, right? That's the whole point. If you're going to get confidence from people and people wanting to reach out to you, you need to show that you can actually get a job done. So you should be filling this About section with everything that you've done, right? So Tony Robbins here talks about, he's honored to help over 50 million people in more than 100 countries, chairman of 7 privately held businesses, 5 holding companies, blah, 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 right? He talks about what he's done at the top of his profile. #1 New York Times best-selling author, life and business strategist, philanthropist, person, entrepreneur. Now, Grant Cardone, he talks about what he's done here. He's very succinct. So Grant Cardone, $1.8 billion assets under management, author of 8 best business books, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you can see here on the top of his profile, real estate investor, $2.1 billion assets under management, author of 21 best-selling books, creator of 10X movement, 500 employees. That's what he's done, right? So you don't want to leave statements, or especially at the headlines of your profile, as generalized statements, right? If you're the director of this company and you've done this, or you've been awarded with this, you should be talking about that at the top of your profile. But a lot of people I see hold off on doing that because they don't want to come across as being braggy or whatever, but that's not the point of LinkedIn. You save that for your social events on the weekend. LinkedIn is there for bragging. So the end goal of every marketing campaign is word of mouth. So especially with social media, one of the ways we can indicate that a social media campaign is doing well is not just through the direct response of social media campaigns. This is where, again, a lot of businesses get it wrong. They think they measure social media based upon what they're seeing directly coming from it. But what you should be doing as well is surveying audiences and customers and find out how they've come about to finding you. And generally you'll find along the way, they've probably seen you on Facebook, or someone has talked about you at a barbecue, and that's how they decided to call you. And that person who talked about you at the barbecue saw you on Facebook that morning. And they're not a customer of yours. They've just seen your content pop up and they go, maybe you should go see this mortgage broker. So word of mouth is the end result of every campaign. Word of mouth still is the most powerful marketing channel there is. Even though I'm a social media marketer, I certainly don't think it beats word of mouth. And I certainly think social media works best when it's coupled with other marketing channels. Social media by itself is gambling. Social media alongside other marketing channels is where it results in really good work and good marketing, successful marketing campaigns. So you need to have your business development or your email marketing or your Google marketing or your website or whatever, all aligned with your social media. And that's how you can leverage off those different channels with one another. Okay, I'd like to invite everyone who's attended today to a 30-minute strategy session with us. Alice, who's a member, and we're a member, but Alice, who's been attending a lot of events, will be the person facilitating those strategy sessions. Really valuable. We can give you tips and tricks and look at your next steps as businesses on social media and what you need to do next. There's no obligation, just get it done. That way you can get some clarity around what you need to do next with your social media. Just in terms of us, we start at $295 a month. I know it says Mossman Council at the top there. Sorry, guys, I haven't changed the slide. It's $295 a month plus GST for our consulting services. That's where it starts. And you get an hour on the phone with us a month. This saves time and money for business owners that want to do it themselves or don't have a lot of investment to do a full social media campaign. So they'd rather do it themselves, but they don't want to go in and waste money on things that won't work and waste their time on things that won't work. So you'll get a dedicated social media marketer, 5 support emails, and access to the latest best practices as well, because we live and breathe social media. So we'll update you on all that if you're a consulting client of ours. So here's where you can reach out and book that session, that strategy session. I know it said 15 minutes on the previous slide, but it's actually 30 minutes. You just go to our website and book in through our website, or you can reach out to us on our email. But yeah, I'd love to hand it back to you guys to answer any questions. I know that there's a few in the chat, but I'll get to that after.
Yeah, I think, look, thanks, George. It's been excellent. And there's a few questions starting to bank up in the chat, so we might jump to them if we can. Do you want to have a quick read, or do you want me to read them out for you?
Where did we start from, Luke? Is it?
Well, I'll do it. So is there a positive effect using emojis in the captions on our LinkedIn posts? So thoughts around that?
Yeah, absolutely there is. Yeah, emojis create, so like I mentioned, you want to get people to stop on the newsfeed, and emojis generally do capture people's attention when you go into the newsfeed. Anything that's different that might stand out other than text and general pictures will help people stop. So emojis do help with that process of getting people to stop. So yes, emojis do have.
Okay, great. What is your take on Google ads in comparison to social media ads?
Well, they both serve different purposes. Google ads are fantastic, but Google is different to social media in that Google is like the yellow pages, and social media is more like your TV, radio, magazine marketing. So Google is more like your people that, you know, are cherry picking. You're going to cherry pick clients from that. But social media preempts someone reaching out. So with Google, someone would have had to think about it, go to Google, type in the search, and that's when they find you. While with social media, you actually preempt the decision for someone to reach out. So that's the difference.
Well, what strategy do you suggest for the promotion of a service that has a very short lifespan, example 3 months? Would you go with Google AdWords or Facebook promotion?
Depends on the type of service or product. If it's really niche, I wouldn't go Google because no one would be searching for it. I'd go social media. If it is quite mass market and people are searching for it, I'll go Google over social, because social would need a longer runtime.
I mean, that's a good observation with Google. People have to be searching for it, don't they? So that's the answer there. Is it good practice to tag everyone linked to your post, or start tagging potential new target audience as a way to tap into new potential people? So tagging.
Right, everyone linked to your post. Look, there is a limit from an algorithm viewpoint. There is a limit that you want to do on LinkedIn. I generally say you don't want to go more than 4 to 6 people tagged. With Facebook, tag the organizations, but with LinkedIn, you don't want to tag more than 4 to 6 people.
Is video the replacement for photos? What's the thoughts around that?
Yeah, video is great for top of funnel, but what we're still seeing at the bottom of funnel in terms of conversion is single image is beating video across the majority of campaigns. Sometimes video does better, so it's good to split test it, but we're seeing majority of the time, single image is still beating video at the bottom of the funnel.
Okay, look, is there anybody out there in the Zoom land who hasn't posted a question that would like to? I can see some people there looking pensive. Put your hand up, I'll call you out. No one's putting their hand up. All right, this is last call for questions. Okay, so we will share George's details again to everybody that has attended. So thanks again for taking the time today to attend. Thanks, George and Alice, for excellent presentation. There's some good things. I mean, I learned a few things. I always thought it was the click-through costs. So I didn't know social media charged for impression costs. So that was one specific thing I took out of it. So that's excellent. So we might wrap it up. And Romina, was there anything about the chamber that you wanted to share? Any upcoming events?
Firstly, yeah, thank you, George and Alice, for organising. George, that was excellent. So always a hot topic, social media.
Yep.
So we will put something together and share it with, you know, some members that couldn't join today. Our face-to-face event is on the 24th of November. So that's our Western Sydney Awards for Business Excellence at the beautiful Rosehill Gardens. So look out for that one. Could I just ask, could I get a screenshot if everyone doesn't mind? George, do you mind unsharing and we'll just do a bit of a screenshot?
Yeah.
There we go. Smile.
That's it, Charles. Take your mask off.
Charles took his mask off. You're a champion. All right, we'll do it again. Bria, did you grab it? There you go.
I keep getting things popping up in my way.
Thank you, everybody, for your engagement. And well done, Luke, and well done, George.
All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for your time, everyone. Thank you.
We hit 11 o'clock perfectly.
Yeah, thank you, George and Alice and everyone else.
Thanks, Crombie.
See you, Crombie.
See you soon.
See you guys.
Hey, Marlene. Hi, Alice.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? That was awesome. Thank you.
Oh, I'm glad. Good. I'm glad it went well. Sorry, I was on a call before and I just lost track of the time. I was like,
oh, that's all right. No, it was great.
All good.
We spoke to George as well. We're going to send you through the recording, and yeah, he's going to help out with some editing and stuff as well, just so we can nail it.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good. Sounds
Have
good.
a beautiful day, my dear. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, we'll catch up soon. Hopefully, not too long till we're back face to face and doing things again.
So November is Wasabi. Look out for that one.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you at the gala. We'll touch base.
I'd love to come.
You're coming. What do you mean you'd love to come? You'll be there.
I'm coming. See you,
Have a
Romina.
great day.
Have a good day. Bye.